Star Citizen's next patch is shaping up to be a good one, and I got a chance to play it early to give you my first impressions. There's been major improvements to the salvage system, there's now luscious locks in the game, awesome new outposts with trading terminals and local riffraff, new weapon handling, probably some new spaceships and vehicles, plus some major updates to Arena Commander that should let players test out some actual fleet battles. Star Citizen's 3.22 patch seems like it's right around the corner with PTU testing underway and progress is looking good. For me, the highlight of this patch is the new salvage mechanics, but for some, it could be the new hair system. CIG has implemented their first wave of new hairstyles into the persistent universe, and they look pretty good. Certainly better than before. And now I can space Karen my way around the verse demanding to speak with the manager of these crummy establishments. What? It's a role-playing game, guys. Okay, but seriously, the salvage upgrades are the big deals here. Spaceships can now completely salvage derelict ships. Well, sometimes it leaves behind things like a turret, but I'm sure that can be addressed at some point. The new hull disintegration process does look a little clunky, but it is functional. Players can now clean up the dead, abandoned ships and make money while doing it, which is fantastic. Although player forgotten ships with shields still up will give you a crime stat for trying to take down the shields and salvage them, so the system does need a bit of tweaking, but generally speaking, I wasn't expecting to see this system implemented so quickly after seeing the last general concept. Now that said, not all players are over the moon with the look of hull salvage, nor am I. The ships kind of break apart via some space magic and then are magically turned into raw materials that snake their way into your ship. The volume of materials coming off of the hull doesn't look right compared to the size of the salvage, and I think the effect could be updated to have a more continuous flow from the salvage piece that looks more proportionate to the size. Others have pointed out how low the skill requirement is for hull salvage, and I think I might actually be fine with it being low skill as long as the earnings have proportionate effects on the skill required. Like, if the skill comes more from hunting down rare wrecks or searching the internals for valuables, then that's a little more interesting to me. Now, the giant reclaimer claw technically works, although Salty Mike was quick to inform me that it's really more of a straw than a claw. The claw extends and then just sits there immobile while the pilot has to basically position it, and then the claw operator just sits there doing pretty much nothing, pressing a button. Not really great gameplay, but I'm gonna trust CIG on the placeholder mechanics of this for now, and that they are planning to hopefully do a lot more with it. The best upgrade for salvage, however, comes from the new dispenser buffer system. No longer do Reclaimer and Vulture pilots have to consistently offload their salvage every time they fill up a single SCU's worth of material. Now you can complete an entire job, then head to the back of your ship, and then extract all the materials and position the salvage crates. The Reclaimer even lets you dispense containers all the way up to 16 SCU in size. The Vulture is still limited to only 1 SCU size crates, which is fine though, but moving the final boxes around the inventory do cause the system to kind of bug out. So CIG is almost there, they just gotta really refine moving objects around the internal of a spaceship. Now the other major update with 3.22 is the new planetary settlements on Hurston and Microtech, small farming villages and gang outposts. These locations are awesome and bring some much needed small town flavor to Stanton. What's cooler is that these outposts have trade terminals, so you can actually use them to buy and sell goods outside of the main trade destinations. This should hopefully add a lot more purpose and life to the verse outside of just the major city hubs and the major stations. There's also some missions that are built around these locations where you might need to go and put down some riffraff and whatnot, so both combat and commerce will take place at these locations. Unfortunately, there were some pretty bad performance issues when approaching these settlements. CIG knows and they aren't looking for specific feedback here, so hopefully that's all ironed out for the final release. Weapon handling has also gone through several more balanced passes and changes. I haven't tested it enough to have many thoughts on it yet. It feels decent for the most part, but again, I've only tested it lightly. Now, the Idris, one of the larger ships in the game that has only been used for NPC control so far, now apparently has interior files in the latest patch. I haven't seen any Idrises in game, but players have shown off renders of the interior. The reason that this is exciting is because CIG said specifically that the Idris would launch alongside Squadron 42. So why are we seeing the interior files now? Does this mean that Squadron 42 is almost here? Do they need to start testing the full Idris performance now and ironing out the bugs? Will players be able to find full interior Idrises in the game and glitch inside of them? I've got so many questions, but everyone should be excited for an Idris release, as it will mark really the first capital class warship in the game. The hangar bay alone is drool worthy. Now, Arena Commander, the sort of PvP TDM style module for Star Citizen, has received multi-crew capabilities, which is huge news. I haven't gotten around to testing this one, but I'd imagine it'll start to open up all kinds of new testing opportunities and game modes. I do still think it needs some sort of either server browser or indicator on the popularity of each game mode. It shouldn't be a job for players to figure out which modes have players in them. They should just be able to tell right away and join into a match with other people. Leaks have also suggested that there's another replication layer test going on with a branch of 3.22, which is very exciting. There are still some major bugs included with this test, so we're probably not going to see replication layer rolled out to the public in this patch, at least that's my guess, but it seems like it's getting closer and closer. And overall, patch 3.22 really does seem like it's gearing up for a full live deployment. We might even see the Santok Yai and the X1 hover bike, since they are tentatively scheduled for the 3.22 patch, but we'll have to see. Another hover bike in the game doesn't really excite me, since there's not much of a game loop for them, but the Santok Yai does look quite neat. I'm a huge fan of the Xeon looking ships, and this one certainly helps to round out the now growing Xeon fleet. The patch is also adding openable cargo containers that come in the size of 1, 2, 4, and 8 SCUs. So basically you can use these as personal item storage or putting whatever you want inside of them and then locking them onto the cargo grid. Beyond that, cargo grids will also now be locked to players and party members. So anybody else trying to say take a cargo box off of your system's grid will not be able to do that as long as the ship's integrity is intact. It's also going to be considered a law infraction if somebody steals cargo off of a grid in a monitored zone. So these are all important updates for just dealing with the shenanigans that undoubtedly players are going to try and get up to. We are now about a week into the final month of the year, and CIG has said that they want to do some pretty big level testing, at least in a test branch of the game, before the end of the year. So we're talking not just replication layer testing, but potentially the Stanton to Pyro jump point as well. That would be very cool to see in a test branch before the end of the year, but I haven't heard of any actual rumblings of a patch like that going to a test branch or anything. So we'll just have to wait and see. Keep your eyes peeled for more Star Citizen content, as it seems to be coming at a breakneck pace. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave me a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and ding the notification bell to beat that YouTube algorithm with me. Next up, check out this video on Star Citizen's toxic underworld. It might surprise you of some of the crazy stuff that goes on behind the scenes. As always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.